I was off Sunday and I called out yesterday. So I went back to work today feeling rejuvenated, okay? Because I'm not just sitting there, I'm not walking around, making sure people do this, make sure people do that. Like, I just like, okay, I'm ready to work. And then when I was ready to go home, I got asked, can I stay a little bit longer? I didn't want to, but I was like, I'm going to be a team player and I'm going to stay. So I stayed a little bit longer. And
well, that's OT.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I used to be in there from morning to night. What'd you say about this? You said something about this?
No, I said that's OT.
Oh, overtime, yeah.
I said,
I haven't made overtime yet because I I got a sick pay yesterday, but
no, you're not. Are you salary?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wouldn't be overtime because yesterday was a sick day.
Oh, yeah.
It was a sick day, so. But I really feel like I just felt rejuvenated. It's the first, so everybody calls on the first, and I was just knocking them phone calls out. Somebody asked, "Can I go on lunch at a different time?" I was like, not the way these calls come in. And then I had forgot all about it because I was going to do it. But then I was like, oh, never mind, because these calls are coming through, and I need you at the times at the desk, answering these calls. But so that's going well. What else? I heard Jojo, the singer Jojo, came to town. Mikkel, I did not know she was that popular. So
or still that popular?
Yes, I mean, like,
because she was that popular at one
back
point in time,
like 20 years ago,
right?
But I didn't know, like, the Fillmore. She sold out the Fillmore.
Well, because she can sing.
Yes, and I mean that whole. I mean, I couldn't imagine being down there on that floor with all people. I just couldn't. It's not like the TLA because it's bigger. The Fillmore is bigger than the TLA, and I mean, she brought the crowd out.
You went?
No, I didn't go. My friend Malik went, and but he was in the balcony seats because he wasn't going to be down there with all the goings on. Yeah, but I was like, okay, and then like in the chat, everybody's like, I hope she sing. Let me know when she sing this song. Record when she sing that song. So I was like, oh, even y'all in the group chat, like I just haven't been checking for her, but I just didn't know. So shout out to her. Yeah, shout out to JoJo, coming to Philly doing her thing, and Dennis was just saying like his whole timeline was filled with JoJo. I barely be on social media and stuff all like that. What else happened? My niece Amber turned 40 over the weekend, so happy belated birthday to Amber. 40. We are 40. I was like, we up there.
And we look good.
Yeah. So we got people.
Remember years ago, 40 was
30s, 20s.
Remember that? 40 was old.
40 was old, yes.
Now we're there, and we're like, oh.
Listen, Mikkel, so this is how I knew 40 was old.
Old? How you knew it was old?
Yeah, but not now. But back then. Back then. What's the show, Grady, with the gray hair? Everything was gray. Do you know he was only in his early 40s, Mikkel? Yes. And looking like he was 60, 70 years old.
And Fred Sanford Red Fox was in his early 50s.
Yeah.
He wasn't even 60.
They looked old.
But that was wigs and stuff. Well,
I don't know if that,
Red Fox, that wasn't his hair. He was bald head. That was what's the name on him? Didn't he have a, what's the name too? Let me show you.
Like a prosthetic wig?
No, I'm thinking the character didn't he have like a bald spot?
Yeah, I don't know.
Red Fox in the 70s was bald. He wasn't what's the name?
I didn't know. Well, they did a damn good job with his hair. He had curly hair though, right?
Yeah, it was like a
curly gray.
Let me see. See?
Well,
it was low cut though.
He looked nice, but they looked old.
Yeah, exactly.
They struggled in those times.
Well, you have to remember too. That was the era of heavy cigarette smoking.
Yeah,
where you could smoke on a plane.
I mean, you could smoke
everywhere in a restaurant.
I was reading somebody smoked like 20 packs a day. That means you're all day. I couldn't imagine.
But that was the thing. Do you remember when we were kids? Smoking was still popular, and a lot of cars still had the ashtrays in them and the lighters.
You had cigarette ads inside magazines.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hell, cigarette commercials.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember commercials.
Newport, like you don't remember the Newport 100 commercials and all that?
Mm-mm.
You remember the billboards?
Yes.
Yes.
I definitely remember. I remember the Newport ones, the cool camel,
and,
Jojo,
and then they would have the small warning. This could help, you know. But by that time,
like, shouldn't smoke.
You know, you have this big ass billboard.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were younger, the cigarette machines?
Yeah, when you pull and get the cigarette, they would definitely be in the barbershops.
They would be in certain
stores.
They were in a Chinese store down the street from my grandma's house because I used to go down there and get her a pack, and that was around the time in the early '90s when you didn't have to. You could be any age to go to the store and get cigarettes for somebody.
Pall Mall, Virginia Slims,
Newport
Camel,
100s.
Newport 100s, Cool.
Soft for the hard box.
Yeah, always the hard box. You know, damn soft pack.
Yeah.
But
and that was the days when you got cigarettes and they gave you matches. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to buy a lighter. They gave you a book of matches for free.
Yeah.
For free. I remember those days.
Yeah. I used to have to get my aunt a newspaper, the Daily News, a Pepsi,
And a pack of cigarettes.
and sometimes I went to go play her lottery. She wrote her numbers down, and I went to go play the lottery. Then, like, they was like, oh, you got to be 18 to play the lottery. You got to be 18 to buy cigarettes. So it busted up the whole routine.
Yeah. But at one point in time, you could go into the store and get cigarettes for $1. You can't send kids today because you'll be arrested as a parent. But
the store would get shut down.
Or the store would get shut down now. But the way, you know, my grandmother used to send me down store to that Chinese store to get her pack of Newport 100. Mm-hmm. And the way you'd sit there and watch them split that match and go,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then take it and throw it.
My mom had ashtrays everywhere.
Yeah, the ashtray everywhere.
Yeah, and I remember when she quit smoking. It was like right when Tibby and Madison were born. She just quit. Right out the blue.
My grandmother smoked. But then she stopped, like you said your mom did.
It was no patch, nothing.
Because we started the early 90s. Remember, my grandmother died in 94. Mm-hmm. So there was none of that going on. She just stopped smoking. And as I got older, I realized, damn, mommy just stopped smoking. But I never remember her smoking in the house. Mm-hmm. She always smoked on the porch. Mm-hmm. She was a cigarette smoker and a coffee drinker. And coffee would be drank
all day. All fuck cold.
She'd have a cup of coffee when she's getting ready to go to bed. Mm-hmm. My grandmother was a heavy coffee drinker to the point that a few years ago, when one of my aunts went to her grave, she took a cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee and sent it. Now, who's going to drink it? I don't know. In that cemetery. But my grandmother was a heavy coffee drinker. She loved coffee.
I love coffee.
Yeah, so, yeah. We had an awesome childhood.
Yeah, I don't see that. Awesome. I don't know how we got to the childhood part and the old people stuff.
Yeah, we did. But what were we talking about?
I was just talking about the weekend. And
yeah.
You know, that's just how we do. You say, I'm glad those are the topics. So let's talk about.
Well, my weekend was.
Oh, sorry.
Me, yeah. Hello, I'm here. Knock, knock.
I was church.
Who's there? Me. That's who. Oh God, church was amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, we had a guest preacher from the Bahamas. Literally from the Bahamas. He and his wife, and I think this young lady was their daughter. But they came because my first lady, she's a part of this conference for first ladies or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this particular first lady, she's the president of the conference. And so her husband is a pastor as well. And he came to preach. Didn't quite understand where he was going. But the praise and worship part of the service before the preaching, it was amazing. Like, oh God, it was just, oh God. Mm-hmm. It was just people, it was in tears and people were shouting. It was just amazing. It was an amazing worship experience. But, this story reminds me of when I had all those subscriptions on my phone that I was paying for, and half the time I wasn't using. So late last week, I started to just come up with this these cold-like symptoms, like when you feel like you're about to get a cold, like you start getting all that in your throat.
Feel it right there.
You start feeling it, and so I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna have to go to the not doctors, but to the store to get me some medicine. 2 days I went on like this, and then I got up to go to work one morning, and as I'm getting myself together, I look and I said, wait a minute. A fresh bottle of Mucinex that I had not opened or nothing. So I'm one of those people that I buy a lot of medicine because I'm always, when the weather changes, I get sick. And I looked at the date. It said it expires next year. Oh. So I said, bitch, for 2 days you've been sitting here coughing and hacking, and you could have been taking this damn medicine? Not paying attention to thinking. But since I've been taking it, even though you can still kind of hear it
a little bit,
I feel amazing because it's been working for the past few days.
Mucinex is one of the best. I take a pill.
Yeah, I love Mucinex. I love Mucinex and Theraflu.
Yeah, I love Theraflu used to work for me. Yeah. It don't work like it used to.
I love Theraflu. Like if I can't get to Mucinex right away, I'll get me some Theraflu. But Mucinex is my go-to, and this Mucinex has definitely been working. It's been breaking up the mucus and all that, and I can feel it. So, yeah, I just was like, wait a minute. So, but here's the crazy thing. Never once did I ever feel sick. It was one of those things like you feel like you're about to get sick, but it's just sitting there. You're not sick. You don't have no headache. You don't have no symptoms. Coughing, of course, and then I've been sneezing for the past few days. But other than that, I feel amazing. And her boss came to visit us yesterday, and when he came into my office, he said, "What's the matter with you? You sick? Because you don't feel like yourself." In that moment, yeah, I'm sick. Because I want to be bothered with you. Yeah, I'm sick. But I feel great. I've been feeling great. It's just that I'm waiting for all of this to just clear up.
Yeah.
So I can stop clearing up.
I love when my body feels good. Because I hate when I'm sick. Like, oh, well, these just one of those days, you'll be all right, But it just takes a while. Not a while, but it could take a couple days. But yeah, I don't like having colds and none of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really good
weekend.
Yeah, I did. I can't complain. I had a good weekend.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, now, since we was talking about the church, the one that I had on there, the Marvin Sapp, right? So I was just on Instagram Live, and I was telling them they may not like what I had to say, but I didn't find anything wrong with what he did. Now, for me, Mikkel, before I watched the video, which I watched today, I watched everybody have an opinion. I watched everybody demonize the church. This is why people don't go to church now. People don't do this. Who the fuck you think you is? I never would have paid it. All that. I'm saying everything. Then I watched the video. Okay? Now, at first when he said lock the doors, I didn't think he was being serious. And then he's like, no, ushers, lock the doors. And then he said, I have 1,000 people in the church, and I have 1,000 people watching online. He said, what I want to do is I want to challenge y'all. I want to see if everybody can give. He didn't say I want to see if everybody can give, but he said I need everybody to give $20. If all of y'all give $20 and everybody online give $20, that's $40,000 right off the bat, right? Now, he did not say it in a way that like y'all gonna give me $40,000. We're gonna raise this tonight. Ain't nobody leaving this motherfucking church unless y'all give me $40,000. That is not how he did it. To me, what he said is a challenge. A challenge. A challenge doesn't mean you better. Like you would have thought he put a gun to their head and was like, ain't nobody leaving this church till I get $40,000. He didn't do that at all. That's why context is everything. Now, he may have asked everybody to pledge $40,000, but I don't even know if he made $40,000. I just feel like some churches do this where they've already collected money and then they collect more money. Sometimes they do it for the people that like to come in late after, like, oh no, we're gonna get your money. You're gonna, because I know how some people do. But for me, it wasn't done like in bad faith. Like he wasn't saying like I need this, I need that. I don't think that's what it was.
Okay, so I think you're absolutely right. But the problem that I think some people had, including myself, tone. His tone was off. Close those doors.
Yep.
I say close those. You understand what I'm saying? Your tone is off, and so we're gonna put it in context. I go to church every Sunday. There was a woman yesterday or Sunday at church who got up to make an announcement, and her tone and her delivery was totally off. Where Miss Betsy sitting behind me, who's 84 years old, she kept saying behind, oh, she's horrible. Oh, she needs to hurry up and sit down. Because the delivery and the tone of the person who was speaking was totally off. Had I been a visitor at my church yesterday, I wouldn't have come back. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody who's not a regular church goer, who's not familiar with a lot of things that goes on in church, I think Marvin Sapp's tone would have turned them off. You know what I mean? I agree with you. Because what he was doing was he was asking them, he was trying to raise $40,000 because whatever event they were at, like he said, and I do agree with him, you have musicians, you have these people who open the doors, you got all, and these people need to get paid. And the money wasn't going to him. And so I agree totally, but I think there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Prime example. There's a few preachers here in Philly that I just don't care for. I don't care for them when they come to my church for certain things, not to preach, because I think my pastor knows better. But when I see them, because one of the reasons why I don't care for them is if I'm at something with them, they'll get up and say, oh, I'm giving $100, and everybody who come after me need to give $100 to the
I don't like that.
I don't like stuff like that. I don't like stuff like that. First of all, you don't know what I have in my pocket. And you asking me to give $100, not to the church, but to this preacher. No. So, I don't like stuff like that. So, when I see people do things like that, your tone can turn a whole thing off. And again, I think Marvin Sapp had great intentions. I don't think he had bad intentions at all. But I think his tone was off. You can ask for money without being tone deaf. Because again, if I was somebody who is not familiar with going to church, somebody who may be looking for a new church, and I go to church with you, and you're used to that type of tone, you're used to that type of behavior, but I'm not, I'd be sitting there like, close the doors. Why is he talking like that? You know what I mean?
Because I bust out laughing because at first I thought he was talking like close the doors.
Right.
He's like, no, ushers, close the door.
And we also have to remember that for some strange reason, people can't wait to bash and down talk the church. They can't wait. And it always has something to do with money. Oh, there they go again, asking for money. That's why I don't go to church, because they always asking for money.
But churches need that money to survive. It's not just for the pastor all the time.
Not realizing that churches have lights, gas, water, taxes. They have a lot of things. Not to mention, you have people who come to church and want to slip and fall and then sue or slip and fall outside. You have people of, like, the other day we were talking, and I was talking to one of my Muslim employees, and he was saying something, and I said, well, you got to be careful because, people still in church. He said, people still in church too? I said, everybody who goes to church is not going for the right intentions.
Right.
Some people go there just to steal because they know people are vulnerable.
The devil comes to sit right in the church.
So he couldn't. So then he said, "You know what? You're right. Because when I go to the masjid and pray, we have to take off our sneakers." He said, "And there's a spot that we have to keep our sneakers." He said, "But I don't like to keep my sneakers." I said, "So then you understand what I'm saying? Because even in the masjid, when you go to pray, there's thieves that come in there. So there's thieves that come in the church too. I mean, thieves are all over. They're not. The church is not exempt. Oh wow, Sunday morning they all going in there. Oh yeah, I'm going in there. Yeah, yes, it happens. So, but I think Marvin Sapp. I think the tone was off. That's